Okay, so I am on to chapter 3 of my series, and in this particular chapter I'm going to discuss two pretty good sections. The first section I want to start out with is section 2718, titled Bringing Down the Cost of Healthcare Coverage, and more particularly subsection D, called Adjustments, located on page 23 of the Act. Now on your screen you'll see shortly a clip of what this subsection says, but let me just read it to you because it's pretty short. The Secretary may adjust the rates described in subsection B if the Secretary determines appropriate on account of the volatility of the individual market due to the establishment of state exchanges. So exactly what does this mean? Okay. In the Act, they talk about volatility, but again, what does this mean? And in this case, it's referring to the amount of uncertainty or risk about the size of changes in a security's value. And for purposes of security, we're talking about the state exchanges. Now, a higher volatility means that a security's value can potentially be spread out over a large range of values. This means that the price of the security can change dramatically over a short time period in either direction. A lower volatility means that a security's value does not fluctuate dramatically, but changes in value at a steady pace over a period of time. So the above is important because of the power it gives the Secretary to adjust our rates, folks. Now, if you read subsection B that it references, it has to do with the rebates that we all might be entitled to from the insurance companies overcharging us on our premiums. However, because of this subsection D here, if the formation of the state exchanges cause the health insurance rates to implode, then any rebates we might have been otherwise entitled to are going to go back into the system to try and plug the hole. And that's just how it's going to be. So I think this is a very important section for us to read to really understand how it could potentially and negatively affect us all. The other reason why I bring this up is because you all know who's been going around and saying this, but there's a certain individual out there right now who likes to talk about how the first time in America, insurance companies are going to have to cut back rebate checks because of their overcharging for their services. And while I believe that that probably has happened in a couple of circumstances, I don't believe that that's going to continue to happen once all of these exchanges are fully implemented, if this act stays in its current formation as of the 1st of next year. I believe that the health care rates are absolutely going to implode because there is a ton of uncertainty with all of this. Look, none of us are able to really know what the price of this is all going to cost, nor do we know how many people are going to be insured under it. And when you don't know the numbers, that's not necessarily a good thing, and it makes for a very unstable situation. Now the next section I want to discuss is section 2701 that talks about the fair health insurance premiums. And it starts off on page 46 of the Act, and you'll shortly see on your screen a clip of it. And this section basically sets forth now how rates will be determined in terms of your insurance rates. No longer will a person's individual medical history or that of family be taken into account, meaning good for people who have histories of problems, but bad for those that don't. Now, why do I say that? Simply, the health insurance companies, I believe, will increase the amounts of their premiums now on the whole in order to make up for the fact that they can't individually look at a person's individual medical history and charge them accordingly. For example, a health insurance company might charge $75 a month for an individual who is healthy with little to no history, and then maybe $125 a month for someone who's maybe a little overweight and has some medical history. So now I think what will happen is, as long as the insurance companies don't overcharge all of us by too much, they're going to more than likely round off their numbers on the upper scale of things to make up on the whole for what they can no longer individually set their premiums for based on that individual's medical history. So now we all pay $110 or even $105 And more than that, more than likely, and the insurance companies are totally going to get away with it, because although it's an increase, it's one that can be justifiable when broken down. Of course, for those of us that were healthier than most, we end up paying $30 to $45 more now a month because of this. So yes, all of our premiums are going to go up. The person most likely to be hurt by this will be the healthier individuals. What should have been done is the insurance companies should still have been allowed to take into account a person's overall health. Now, I'm not talking about the histories of the parents and the grandparents and the great-grandparents, because I get it. Genes skip generations for problems and whatnot. I get that. But not allowing the insurance companies to individually look at how somebody's overall health is in order to determine more than likely what their medical costs are going to be is going to end up costing us all more. Now, the health insurance companies can no longer deny insurance coverage, and that's a good thing because of our histories, and that's something that should totally be still left in. But again, I really think that they should have still have been able to take in consideration a person's overall history. Now, they can still take into consideration whether or not someone smokes, and a smoker is going to have to pay no more than 1.5 times what a non-smoker would have to pay. Now, some would say, who have health problems, that it's not their fault that they have diabetes. It's not their fault that they have heart conditions. After all, these were the genes that they were born with. But I believe that that argument can be made on the other side as well. Look, it's not my fault I was born without those particular bad genes. It's not my fault I'm healthy, but yet overall, we're the ones who's going to end up taking it in the shorts and paying for it all. So again, I really would urge everyone to really pay attention to these two particular sections. Look them up, read them, see how they're going to affect you, and come to your own conclusions. Thank you very much, and stay tuned for the next segment.